Hello, and welcome to the Agent Hero podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Shaughnessy. As a multi-award-winning 20-year industry leader in real estate, my goal is to share with you how I learned to make a six-figure income working just 20 hours a week, focusing only on the high-impact activities that net real results. I want to share with you the secrets I've learned over the past 20 years that have led me to the dream life I have now. This podcast will help you master the art of efficiency, find balance in the hustle, and equip you with impactful tips from myself and other industry experts to help you rise to the top of the industry while putting your happiness and freedom at the forefront of your life. Let's get started. Hi guys, welcome back to the Agent Hero podcast. I am super excited for today's episode because we have a freaking rockstar agent. Her name is Melissa Horne. She is on with us today. She just closed 13 deals in 13 weeks, and we are going to break it on down on how exactly she did it. Welcome, Melissa. So glad to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Yes. So Melissa is a Florida agent. She is located in Brevard County, more specifically Melbourne area.
Yeah.
And this girl is on fire, you guys. She is number 3 RE/MAX Elite Agent in 2024. She has doubled her income every year since 2019, which is incredible. And she's top 1.5% of agents in Brevard County since 2021. Unbelievable. She's got a lot to tell, but more specifically, we want to know how the heck you did it. 13 deals in 13 weeks. So talk to me, break it down. How did you get there? What made you hit go on this? How did you do it?
I signed up with Chatty Bazzi, Top Listing Agent. It is a group coaching program that he sets you up for calling expireds and FSBOs. He gives you the script, but not only does he teach you what to say, he teaches you that you're only learning the script to internalize it and then let it come out as your voice.
So guys, we're talking about basically in this listing on demand program. Her challenge was it 30 calls
a day? It was 30 contacts a day for 90 days.
30 contacts a day, Monday through Friday for 90 days. And she had to actually talk to the person, not just dial and they'd hang up. And thank God you didn't have to talk to anybody. You have to talk.
You had to
30
talk.
people.
Yeah, they couldn't hang up on you for 90 days. Yes.
Right. And out of it, she got 13 deals in 13 weeks. Is that 13 listings or 13 closings?
13 closings. So I signed 13. I signed either a listing or a contract from those calls, okay, in 13 weeks, which equated to, after everything closed of those 13, $152,000.
$152,000. And what would you say was the timeline from starting your calls to closing those? What was the timeline to the first 100,000?
Probably the 60 days, because a good portion of it was in the beginning because I was so amped up, right?
And so 60 days, you made 100,000.
And it made me better. Like the focus made me better with the clients I was already working with. So I would say that they all probably closed after the end of that 90 days, within 45 after. So it was still within a quarter almost. For so many other coaching programs and other programs I looked at, it was like, say this script and say it exactly and hard close. And I was always like, that's not me. That's not me. That's not how I sell. That's not how I connect to people. Like, I don't even want to be bothered with that. And that's why I was so resistant to learn the script that he was, offering for us to learn. Part of what I was resistant to was that I didn't want to be a robotic script repeater, right? And that's what I felt like was happening. And with the listing presentation, so the whole idea is that you learn the script for FSBO, you learn the script for expired, and then you perfect your listing presentation kind of at the same time. And when you just take action and do what he says to do, eventually, for me, it took 2 months, you realize that it's not always what you say, it's how you say it. And it's uncovering the motivation and truly putting the person, they're not leads, they're not this weird, whatever word, prospects. They are people. So if we learn to follow an outline, which if you put it into perspective with people that are more comfortable with buyers like I didn't have to think about what I was going to say with the buyer. And I think maybe that was the difference. I never learned a script with the buyer. I was taught LP Mama. Well, more or less, like location, price, do they have an agent? What's their motivation? But I just talk to people. My first team lead, like, here's the Zillow spend. Answer the phone and get appointments. That was my training. That was it. Okay. Well, I'm sure we all remember when the interest rates changed in the middle of 2022. Well, my whole business has been built on online lead generation. So that's really buyer heavy. So when the interest rates change like that, dead stop, work nonstop, panic, phones, in the office, 12-hour days, nothing fun.
The world was changing.
Yes.
100%. Yeah.
So I was trying to figure out like what can I change about my business and why my business was not set up for a market shift. And I had to shift my mindset. I had to shift my marketing. I had to change my skills. So I wanted to start really prospecting for listings and not rely so much on the buyers. Most of my listings up until that point were all referral, SOI, come list me calls. There was nothing that I was doing as outbound prospecting, right?
And prior to this shift, what would you say your percentage of listings versus buyers was?
Probably 75, 25, maybe even higher. 75 buyers, 25 listings, maybe even 80 buyers and 20% listings. Which
I feel like is most agents, right? Most people are very buyer heavy unless they have a system in place.
And the skills. It was really, I could pick up a phone for a buyer if somebody just wanted to talk about, I'm thinking about buying a home. I'm not that agent who is at the supermarket being like, I think you're talking about real estate. And I just want you to know that I'm an agent. I just still feel really shy, which is stupid. I'm not a secret agent. Don't be a secret agent. If you could talk about it in the supermarket, do it.
Right. If it feels authentic and natural, right? Yeah. Yes. But if you're pushing yourself and feeling salesy, I'm the same exact way. I'm just I think I get in my own way in that way, but I'm just so big on authenticity. So I feel you.
No, it's true. But there are other times, like if people are talking about real estate and I feel like I have something valuable to say and it's authentic, then of course, I am an expert.
Right.
But that shift, that to be able to say I'm an expert all the time was not there. And I was my own worst enemy in trying to outbound prospect for listings. And like you said, I agree. Most agents come up as, a buyer's agent for a team, which I think is very beneficial when you first start.
Agree.
I think that it's faster money in some markets, like we're seeing right now when listings are staying longer. It's less out-of-pocket costs in the beginning of your career. Of course, there's gas and time, right? Mm-hmm. But there's not photos and marketing and all these other upfront costs. And it was my flow for so long. So, change hurts, right? But I got punched in the face. It was not smooth. So I tried to find avenues that would make me more confident, make me stronger. Because my main lead pillar always was online marketing, there's really no seller Google lead system that works, right? The funnel's really long. It's about the opportunity to build a relationship, either a buyer or seller, but buyers tend to look online before the portals, right? We're not talking about Zillow Realtor, but best real estate agent in my area, best place to live, things like that. They don't know what they want yet. They're looking for a BFF to talk about real estate. They're not,
12 to 18 months. Yeah. They're just thinking. Yeah.
They're just thinking. So maybe you'll get a buy out of it. I've gotten referrals to sellers from people like that I've built a relationship with, but calling FSBOs and expireds and circle prospecting, that was out of my wheelhouse. I felt that calling somebody cold like that was just inviting of a fight, right? Or, confrontation or anything. And I thought that it was a warm lead even though it was super cold, these online leads. And that was just a mindset thing. So I found a coach that was complete expert in FSBOs and expireds and to be a top listing agent. And I was like, okay. And what I discovered when I got into this program, that I had no confidence. And I thought I was confident.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I had no idea what to say. And I thought I always knew exactly what to say.
I'm so glad, because I know where you're going with this story, but I am so glad to hear you admit that, because I think most agents, I don't care if you've freaking been in the business 20 years, they think of cold calling people or even warm calling, right? As you're saying, it's rejection. It's just, you're just setting yourself up to be on the firing squad. It's really hard to just do it anyway, right?
Yeah. And that was a big thing. I think I was in that program for 2 or 3 months before I can get through a listing presentation role play without crying. Like, I was
Really?
such a baby. Yes, because I was so resistant to just learning the script.
Mm-hmm.
What I found was it was not the script I needed to learn. It was the outline of uncovering the motivation of the person that you're talking to. And I was a bartender and waitress my whole life. So I came with the understanding of how to influence people and kind of move them where they want to go without being pushy. So those inherent skills were not refined before my program for listings. But I was like, okay, how did I do that and not feel uncomfortable? Because I already knew I moved all the time and I lived everywhere in New York. So I knew what
you knew how to talk to people you didn't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What's important to you about this move? How are you going to pay for it? Like, are we financing? Do you need to talk to a lender? What do you need to know about the process? That's what I needed to learn from the beginning of my career. So what is the process? Like we're going to go look at houses and you're going to write a contract and then blah, 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 inspection. That stuff is always somebody that you can lean on, especially if you're in a good brokerage or have a good team. The most important thing, just as a side note, the most important thing when you're looking for direction in your career, no matter what it is, if you are in real estate, whatever it is you're in, you have to find a mentor that aligns with your values.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
You find a mentor that aligns with your values, you'll be able to come into who you want to be and who you want to be every day.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. And that's what Chatty did for me. I didn't realize all these old versions of myself that were making me uncomfortable in who I am. It was taking me further away from who I am.
Oh my God, girl, preach. This is exactly what I talk about all the time. You need to lean into what you're authentically good at, what you're naturally good at, what is you, yourself, and you can 10x that. And it actually makes work feel easy. It makes it feel easy. I know I've been on so many teams where it's just dialing for dollars. There was only one way to do it. I come home miserable. Everything was inorganic to me. I wasn't good at calling cold leads. I just sucked at it. And then when I just started talking to people in my sphere and, just naturally talking and knowing my own knowledge and feeling good about myself, I would get all my business from there. I'm like, all right, I suck at that. I'm great at that. Do this.
And that's exactly, I'm so glad that you said that, because that's exactly where I'm at now. So this challenge was a challenge for me to overcome a fear. And it was very successful. But truth be told, I don't like expireds and FSBOs. I still don't like it. I know I'll never go hungry because I'm not afraid of them anymore. But I lean into the conversations with the people I know, my network, right? I still need to commit to making those calls every day because I want to grow my business, right? I don't love them. Yeah, I don't love them. I don't like them. But I
honest.
Still, the first 2 phone calls are always like a stumbling shit show, right? But then you just have to have fun with it. I'm just having a conversation. That's what I do. I'm just having a conversation with another person. Everybody loves talking to me. I'm just going to see what I can contribute and help. So when you asked me to kind of go over my script. I don't have a script anymore. I've developed my own. You need to uncover are you putting back the house back on the market? I saw that it came off the market. Are you putting the house back on the market? Where were you going to go if you sold it? And that's where you stop, because that's where you have to listen.
But those two questions are very important, I think, for anyone starting off, because a lot of people, they don't know what the heck to do when they get on the phone. Now, I would imagine you kept getting the same objections over and over.
There are a lot. Yeah, there are a lot.
What's the two most common?
Where we're going to sign with the same agent. The market's just not good. We're not going to relist it. I think
What's your response to that?
My response to that is, well, where were you going to go? Like, what was the plan? Like, if you sold the house, where were you going to go? And then they say, you say something, we'll just role play it. So where are we going to,
Okay.
I understand the market's not what it was and it's slowed down, but if you had sold the house, where were you going to go?
Well, I mean, these tariffs right now, I just don't want to do anything. But if I was going to go somewhere, I mean, I was going to go down to Fort Lauderdale. That's where my daughter is and my son-in-law, and just be closer to them.
Oh, I completely understand, right?
But, no rush, no rush.
I know, but it's got to be hard when your son-in-law and when your family, like the people that are closest to you, are that far away, right? I understand. Is that the reason why? You want to?
Yeah, they're having kids and we want to be down there.
How many grandkids do you have right now?
We've got 3, 1 from my son and 2 from my other son.
So you have 3 grandbabies in Fort Lauderdale, and the sooner you get there, don't you think that it would be better for you to get all those cherished moments with them?
Yeah, I do. I would love that. I just, it's been so hard to sell.
I know. Well, what is it going to do for you when you get there to be with those grandbabies?
I mean, I'd love to teach little Jimmy how to play the piano.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, let me ask you this. If I can get your home sold in the next 30 days or less, and more importantly, net you the type of money you'd like to net, would that create a problem for you?
Well, that certainly wouldn't be a problem.
So why don't you invite me over so I can help figure out how to get you close to Jimmy and get those piano lessons? What do you say? Tomorrow at 4 or 6? Which works better for me?
Oh, boy. I guess it couldn't hurt to talk. Sure, why not?
All right. So 6 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So that's that. You want to dig into their motivation. That's
personal connection.
And like 4 deep. You want to, where are you going to go if this house sold? Why is that important to you? How would that help you? Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit more about that. And now you've gotten to the real reason, right? I could have went 2 questions deeper, like, well, is Jimmy playing an instrument now? What are the other grandkids doing? Is it really worth it to wait over here and miss those moments with them? And this is one of my favorite questions. What wasn't working for you that you 6 months ago decided to list the house? Has that changed?
I love that.
It's just asking the questions and listening. And, people know if you really care. And if you're really coming from a servant's heart and a place of contribution, they're going to listen to you.
Yep.
And then they're going to remember you even more.
Right. So just be human.
Yeah.
Be a good human. Yeah. Don't think about the money. Think about how you're going to help them.
Oh my God.
I like those sort of affirmations that you said right before you got on.
Yeah.
Right. Like, how can I help this person? I mean, we're just going to have a conversation. I'm just talking to another human.
Yeah.
I will ask you this. So not everybody is receptive, right? And a lot of these people are getting the same freaking phone call over and over and over. I mean, I remember I was selling my place and I was on the market with myself, right?
Right.
And I had people calling me and I literally started saying the script with him back. And it was so fun. But what do you do when they've just gotten 10 of the same phone calls with most people saying the same script, right?
Right.
They're so mad when you're calling them because they've gotten 100 calls. How do you sort of bounce back and, how are you resilient after that? Because that can be really hard.
It can be really hard. So 2 things, and this is more of a mindset thing, right? You have to not be attached to the outcome and already assume the sale. You have to go into the call with assuming the sale and not being attached to the outcome. That's number 1, and it won't beat you up. And this happened to me the other day. So I put in an old list, and they were all old expireds, and all of them had already listed and sold. And when you're working through a dialer, you can't see anything. So it takes all the it's fast, right?
Yeah.
So,
You're talking about a multi-line
yeah.
dialer,
When
right?
I did the challenge, I was doing it on single line. So I got to dilly dally. It took 4.5 hours to make 30 contacts a day, right? That was, but if you have nothing else to do all day but call. However you can call from your cell phone, from whatever, just call. But the other day I put them through and I was getting beat up. And by the fourth call, and it was horrible, I called my girlfriend that I role play with and I was like, I am done. I'm not doing this today. Can't. She said, go back on the phone. What is wrong with you? Just go back on the phone. You'll feel better when you're done with your contacts and, it'll be over and who gives a shit? Why do you care? And I was like, you know what? And then the rest of the call, nobody wanted to sell. Everybody already sold their house or relisted it. But now I was laughing. Now I was smiling and dialing. Like I was just having fun. And that's it. And this is my rule of thumb. If you get the angry person, you're going to want to mirror match them. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but you're going to want to be like, they're like, what do you want? Be like, I'm just calling to see if you want to sell your house. Like, match them, like, give it back.
What?
Yeah, that's it. And I learned that as a waitress. If somebody was like, I want this, I'm like, well, you think I'm going to get you that now? Like, I'm not running. If you snap your fingers, I'm not coming. So let's get that.
Wow.
And then those are the people that tip you the best, and they calm down by the end. Everybody has a 60-second speech to get you off the phone. I do it with telemarketers. If I don't just hang up when I hear the beep from the VPN and they actually get me into like a hello, there's 60 seconds of why I'm not talking to you. But if they get me or you get anyone past that speech that they practice to get you off the phone, then you're in a real conversation. Okay. And that's it. So yeah. So you sound like all the other real estate agents. Why are you different? Why should I even talk to you? Well, that's exactly why you should meet with me so I can show you what I bring to the table. And the one thing that I always say that's more important, I'm not trying to get your sale. Like maybe I can't sell your house. Maybe your house is not going to sell because there's some condition I don't know. But until I walk through and give you my opinion, which will benefit you to know what another professional thinks, True. I can't tell you that. I was like, there's no harm, no foul. If you want to know why I think your home hasn't sold, I would love to walk through and give you some advice. Maybe you hire me, maybe you don't. That's, I'm willing to give it that shot. I just want to help you. So if you want to sell and get to the next place, I truly believe that I might be the one to do that. Just meet with me. If you don't like me, that's okay. We just keep it moving, Yeah.
A lot of times the trick is just not to answer the question.
Yeah.
Right. Them talking about the interest rates, get them off the topic. Right. How are you different? Get them off the topic.
It's called a level shift. In my skill increase, NLP is neuro-linguistics programming, and exactly what we talked about, it's called a level shift. You get them off of their question and into something that you feel comfortable talking about. So like if they're like, I want to stay with the same agent. I completely understand wanting to stay with the same agent. It's comfortable. But what I hear you saying is that you really just don't want to try something else new where the marketing might actually be better and get you more exposure. Is that right? And then they'll say something else. And I'll say, well, that's one of the reasons why many sellers choose to hire me is because of my innovative marketing, which means for you getting 4 times the amount of buyers through your house. Ultimately, how do you think that's going to help your sale? Mm-hmm. And then they're going to say, come over, Melissa. Let's start off.
No, this is so great. So as far as, would you say you dialed 4.5 hours?
For 30 contacts on a single line dialer for me in my marketplace was about 4.5 hours to get to
4.5 hours. Yeah. No. Oh, I believe that. I used to have to dial 25 people, just Zillow leads and whatnot on a team I was on. And I mean, it would drain me. It would take me forever. So 4.5 hours. Do you have any tips for keeping your stamina up? I mean, I guess, like you said, call a friend.
Just call a friend. If you
got any morning rituals you do? Do you do it first thing in the morning? Tell me your tips.
So, well, yes. Anybody in the coaching world will tell you start dialing at 8 o'clock in the morning or whatever your state permits. That was always a hard one for me because I have kids and there's school and there's breakfast and I have ADD and I got to dilly-dally and like tap things 50 times.
You got a budget time for dilly-dallying.
Yes. So I think when I stopped beating myself up for not getting on the phone at the time everyone told me to get on the phone, I did better. So
Okay.
I actually didn't start dialing until 9:00.
Mm-hmm.
Now you do miss those early first call expireds. Would you get a better pickup rate and possibly more appointments with that extra hour? 100%. But for my well-being and mindset, it wasn't that important for me. But it is true. So I don't want to say that it's not true. But if you're beating yourself up for something that you can't perform, now you've ruined your mindset for everything else in the rest of the day. So you have to pick your evil, right?
Totally. Yeah.
So for me, I started at 9 a.m. If I didn't want to get on the phone, because it's a good 15 minutes of staring at the computer before I just dialed. So I would put on either a podcast or some mindset thing or a moving meditation, like not one of the ones where you have to like and sit there, but like something that there's a girl named Mary Kate, who I really like. She's on YouTube. She's got a couple that you could just do in the background while you're doing stuff. Affirmations, like all the foo-foo, it's true. Play it in all the time because it'll totally get your juices flowing. Then if it was that I haven't talked to anybody for 45 minutes, my voice is froggy, I'd call you know what I mean? Or my friend Kirsten or another agent, do a quick role play with me, get me amped up. Or I would call a past client, people that I knew already liked and trusted me, and I haven't checked in on them because they'll always ask you, how's the market?
Yeah.
They'll always ask you. You're like, how's the cat? How's the dog? How's soccer? And they'll be like, how's the market? And then now you're talking about real estate with somebody that really values your opinion and it makes you feel good.
Remembers who you are. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing. Whatever you have to do that makes you feel good, that's what you have to do right before you dial. And play music, stand up, all that stuff is true. I have a treadmill. You can kind of see it right there. I have a treadmill. It goes under my desk, and I can't walk and talk when I'm in a conversation on a treadmill. I could do it in circles around the office, but I'll walk while I'm dialing and I'll slow it down when the phone answers. Here's another routine. I keep index cards in front of me because I'm still old school. I can't type fast. So like here's one from call yesterday. I take all my notes on the index cards and then I transfer them into the CRM later. And I do the color ones because, I'm, again, multi-sensory stimulation. So,
so you don't stop and do the CRM, right? Because that slows you down.
Yeah. So I keep these because again, I also don't like to type and I'm never going to try. So I'll talk this into the keypad when I'm going through my CRM to update them. Depending on the program that you're using for FSBOs and expireds, I did it 2 different ways. I use Follow Up Boss for my CRM. So all my lead pillars go into that. I have the FSBOs and expireds go into that too, but I don't call through there anymore. There's a lot. So there's RedX, there's Vulcan, there's Espresso Agent, there's My Plus Leads. Those are the 4 most common, I think. Vulcan has the best data. It's also the most expensive. When I had Vulcan, I dialed through Vulcan because I still had them go into my Follow-Up Boss, but I just let them live there because I use the emails for other marketing, not to call through them. That's just for another marketing pillar. I would transfer.
So you have multiple. You have a couple.
So Vulcan which is great about Vulcan, they have a burner number. So you don't have to worry about coming up as spam or whatever. And you can change it out when you do. And you don't have to worry about compromising your own personal cell phone or office number. And you can still use it. Like they have a system that it connects. So you'll be calling through your cell phone, but it's not your cell phone number dialing, right? Or you can use a headset and call right through the system. And when I found somebody that's like a good person to continue communicating with, or I got a listing appointment, I would move them into FUB, but at a different stage, not just like as a lead coming in, they'd be like an A, B, or C. So I knew what my follow-up lists are because there's 2 sets of calls you're making. You're making new business calls and then you're doing your follow-up calls. And there's so much money in the follow-up. Now I say that with a grain of salt, and you said it earlier. If you're doing this for the money, they smell it from 90 miles away. So
Commission breath.
yeah, if you are not in it to contribute to make somebody's life better, you can learn all the skills in the world. You can call all day long. The universe is not going to give it to you. But if you really are coming from the heart and you're doing what you're supposed to do, you'll find that for those of you out there getting beat up doing 30 contacts a day and you haven't gotten an appointment yet, keep doing the 30 contacts a day, because on day 30, you're going to get like 6 listing appointments and sign 6 listings. Like you put in the action, you're going to get rewarded for the action 100%.
Right.
Oh.
You know what? And what a great time of year too to implement this. I mean, we're still in the spring market. I mean, there's some crazy shit going on in the world, but people who need to sell, they need to sell. All right. Real estate keeps going.
Yeah, no, it really does. It does.
So what would you say? Well, I'll ask 2 different questions. Would you do this again?
Yes.
You did this for 90 days, right? Yes. And then you took a well-deserved cruise, right?
Well, yeah, this was last year. So I'm actually doing a challenge right now again. I started on April 1st.
What are you doing the same? What are you doing different?
Now I'm doing the dialer.
The multi-line dialer.
Multi-line dialer. I'm only doing 20 contacts instead of 30.
And is the reason for that just trying to control your time?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how many hours does it take you to do that now?
With the dialer, an hour.
What?
An hour and 15 minutes max. Depends how much I stop. See, I have the freedom now. What's the saying? When you generate, you don't have to tolerate. So my skills are more advanced. So it takes less conversations to get to an appointment. I also have a bigger business. So there are other places that I can get business from, and I can choose to do things I like more than the things I like less. So what I've been calling are old expireds, to get those 20 contacts in, to keep the habit, right? Keep the routine. I haven't been very successful in getting any that have been not relisted of the old expired so far, but I have gotten 2 new buyers from my calls this last week and 2 new contracts from those buyers. So
from like your online leads. Got it. Got it.
So I am now switching actually this week. So you're going to have to check in with me next week. I'm like, you know what? I want to move to FSBOs for a little while. And for me, a lot of people don't do this. For me, what I found works is I'm going to concentrate on expireds, and then I'm going to concentrate on FSBOs. I can't mix the numbers up. Melissa's brain doesn't go from FSBO conversation to expired conversation.
I get that.
In a fluid movement, right?
I'm the same way. Yeah. I have to be one track brain, right? Because you have to have all those objections handy and knowing exactly what you're going to say.
And it's a different avatar, right? Like real estate is about conversations and relationships, right? That's it. Conversations and relationships. We as humans adapt a behavior that's appropriate for the situation. You're not going to talk the same way at a funeral as you're going to talk at a wedding, right? Sure. So that's where I'm at. Now, people will argue that you're mirror matching and you can be fluid like that. For me to show up as who Melissa wants to be every day, I need to be in the language that I think is most effective for that type of person in that type of atmosphere.
Yeah. It's just how your brain works, right?
Yeah.
I completely understand that because I'm very similar in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, hey, listen, if you can bounce around, then more power to you, right?
Yeah. Teach us that. Call us.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Yeah, exactly. Let me know. All right. So now you're down to 20
I'm doing
contacts.
20, I'm doing 20 of expireds and FSBOs. And then I'm making my calls throughout the day for my online leads or people I have to follow up with. I'm going to say since April 1st, 4 people that are in the pipeline from those calls that are not yet ready. So the follow-up is a real thing.
Yeah.
You have to show your value. I think with a lot of the turmoil and angst in the world in general right now, they're having a harder time trusting and they're really looking at what's best for them. And if you come through as somebody who truly cares and it's going to get them to what's most important to them, ultimately you're going to win.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. All right. Well, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for this information. I think everybody is fired up. Now, listen, if you want to make some money, honey, I mean, don't think about the money, but you will with this program, it sounds like. And I'm actually inspired. I'm going to do it myself. I told you that on the last call you and I had. So I'll be checking in with you. You know, I used to freaking say, no, I'm not doing expired, but it's all about your attitude.
Yeah,
It really is,
it is.
right? It's all about having the right mindset. And I'm not afraid to shake shit up a little bit. So
Yeah, call me.
thank you. I will.
Together. We'll do it like on a Zoom.
Yes. I love your little role play, little accountability calls. We can definitely do it.
There's a group of us, so you call anytime because I got all the girls on speed dial. We're like the cackling real estate agents, like teenagers in a corner when we got issues we got to work out.
Oh, I love it. Just a vent session, if nothing else, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for your time, Melissa. And you said that you had some sort of discount code for a multi-loan dialer?
It's not a discount code. Just put my email. Just tell them and I can connect them with the rep at the dialer that can get them a good deal.
Okay. All right. If we need to put anything in the show notes, we will.
Okay.
But thank you so much for your time and hope everybody left feeling empowered and fired up, and let's go kill it.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been great. I am always available. If anyone does have a question, just drop my email or my phone number in the show notes. And if I can help you in any way gain traction in your business, I'd be happy to do so.
She's amazing, guys. She's amazing. I'll put her information in the show notes.
All right. Thanks.
All right.
Bye
for now. Thanks for tuning in to the Agent Hero podcast. Together, we're redefining real estate success. I hope you're feeling more informed and inspired after today's episode. Be sure to subscribe to the show and connect with me on social media. I am the Agent Hero across all platforms. See you next time.